What if I told you that the 8 hours you spend sleeping each night could be the most powerful manifestation tool you've never learned to use? Right now, as you're watching this video, millions of people around the world are preparing for bed, completely unaware that they're about to waste their most potent opportunity for transformation. They'll close their eyes, drift into unconsciousness, and wake up tomorrow living the exact same patterns, the same limitations, the same unfulfilled dreams. Has this ever happened to you? You go to sleep hoping for change, yet wake up to find yourself trapped in the same reality, wondering why your deepest desires seem to remain just out of reach. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because the ancient wisdom keepers understood something that modern society has forgotten entirely. They knew that sleep isn't just rest. It's a sacred ritual where your thoughts take root and grow into the fabric of your reality. Every single night, as your conscious mind surrenders control, something extraordinary happens beneath the surface of your awareness. Your subconscious mind, that ancient and immense force that's been shaping your life from the shadows, suddenly becomes exquisitely sensitive to new programming. It's during these precious hours that your deepest patterns can be rewritten, your limiting beliefs can be dissolved, and your most cherished dreams can be planted like seeds in the fertile soil of your sleeping consciousness. Think about this for a moment. You spend roughly 1/3 of your entire life in this altered state of consciousness, yet most people treat sleep as nothing more than a biological necessity. They're missing the most profound opportunity for personal transformation that exists in human experience. The twilight realm between waking and sleeping creates a sacred threshold where the veil between your current reality and your desired future becomes gossamer thin. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Now, imagine if you could harness this nightly transformation window. Picture yourself mastering the art of conscious sleep programming, where every night becomes a powerful manifestation session. What if you could learn to speak directly to your subconscious mind in its own language, bypassing the resistance and doubt that plague your waking hours? The mystics and sages of old understood that when your brain waves slow to theta and delta frequencies, you enter a state of enhanced receptivity, unlike anything available during normal consciousness. Your mind opens like fertile earth, ready to receive new seeds of thought, new patterns of belief, new blueprints for your reality. This isn't just metaphorical. Modern neuroscience confirms that your sleeping brain processes information in ways that transcend ordinary thinking, free from the constraints of logic and daily concerns. Stay with me until the end of this presentation, because what you'll learn tonight will revolutionize not just how you sleep, but how you create your entire life experience. The stories you're about to hear of ordinary people who discovered these ancient techniques and transformed their realities in ways that seemed almost miraculous will show you exactly what becomes possible when you align with the true power of your sleeping consciousness. Subscribe to join a community of conscious creators who understand that reality is far more malleable than most people realize. Every video expands this understanding further. You see, your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. This means that the hours you spend in sleep programming aren't just preparation for manifestation, they are manifestation itself, happening in real time as you dream your new reality into existence. The question isn't whether these techniques work. The question is, are you ready to discover the sacred science that turns your nightly rest into conscious creation? Because once you understand what happens when thought becomes energy, and energy takes form in the twilight realm of sleep, everything you thought you knew about personal transformation suddenly shifts into a completely new paradigm. You see, there's a hidden truth that the most successful people throughout history have stumbled upon. often without even realizing it. They discovered that the moments just before sleep hold a transformative power that dwarfs any technique you might practice during your waking hours. This isn't about positive thinking or mindset shifts. This is about accessing a biological phenomenon that occurs naturally in your brain every single night. Scientists call it the twilight state, that magical threshold between consciousness and dreams, where your neural pathways become as malleable as warm clay. But the ancient wisdom keepers understood something far more profound. They recognized this liminal space as a sacred doorway where the fundamental laws of reality operate differently. Here, in this gossamer thin boundary between worlds, thought doesn't just influence reality, thought becomes reality. Consider this. Every major breakthrough in your life, every sudden insight, every moment when the perfect solution appeared seemingly from nowhere, these revelations often emerged from the depths of your resting consciousness. Your sleeping mind has been working behind the scenes all along, processing information, connecting patterns, and creating possibilities that your logical mind could never orchestrate alone. The law of attraction, which so many struggle to activate during their waking hours, flows like a river without resistance during sleep. Think about why this happens. When you're awake, your conscious mind operates like a vigilant gatekeeper, questioning every thought, analyzing every possibility, creating friction through doubt and skepticism. But as you drift towards sleep, this mental guardian steps aside, and your subconscious mind emerges like a master artist, finally given access to a blank canvas. This is when something extraordinary occurs. Your desires, when impressed upon your mind in these final conscious moments, bypass all the usual barriers that block manifestation. They slip past the inner critic, slide beneath the wall of limiting beliefs, and plant themselves directly in the creative center of your being. What you program during these precious minutes becomes the sacred architecture from which tomorrow's experiences are constructed. I've witnessed this transformation in countless lives, and the impact never ceases to amaze me. There was a woman named Sarah who struggled for years trying to manifest financial abundance through every technique imaginable. Visualization boards, affirmations, meditation practices, nothing seemed to create lasting change. Then she discovered the power of twilight programming. Each night, as sleep approached, she would speak her desires for prosperity directly to her subconscious mind, feeling the words sink into that receptive soil like seeds finding perfect growing conditions. Within 3 months, opportunities began appearing in her life with stunning synchronicity. A client offered her exactly the project she had been visualizing. An old friend mentioned an investment opportunity that perfectly matched her spoken intentions. Her entire financial reality shifted, not through struggle or force, but through the gentle yet irresistible power of properly programmed sleep. The beauty of this process lies in its effortless nature. You're not trying to convince yourself of anything or battling against resistant thoughts. Instead, you're working with your mind's natural rhythms, like a gardener who plants seeds in harmony with the seasons rather than fighting against them. Your subconscious mind during these twilight moments becomes exquisitely sensitive to suggestion, operating at frequencies that make profound change not just possible, but inevitable. This is why certain decisions that seemed impossible during the day suddenly feel clear and obvious after a night's rest. Your sleeping consciousness has been quietly rearranging the landscape of possibility, creating new pathways where none existed before. Now, I want to go even deeper into this phenomenon because what most people don't realize is that this twilight programming window operates according to very specific principles that, once understood, can be deliberately activated and enhanced. The ancient practitioners knew exactly how to maximize these precious moments, turning ordinary sleep into extraordinary creation. Write in the comments, "I'm ready for transformation," if you're beginning to sense the incredible potential that lies dormant in your nightly rest. The first revelation that Transforms everything involves understanding the precise neurological journey your brain takes each night. As you begin your descent into sleep, something remarkable happens behind the scenes of your consciousness. Your brain waves, which normally buzz at the rapid beta frequencies of daily thinking, begin slowing down like a gentle river, finding its natural pace. This isn't just a biological process. It's a doorway opening to unprecedented receptivity. When your mind shifts into these slower theta and delta frequencies, you literally enter a state similar to deep meditation, but even more powerful because it happens naturally, without effort or strain. Imagine soil being perfectly tilled and prepared for planting. This is exactly what occurs in your neural landscape during this transition. Your subconscious becomes exquisitely prepared to receive new seeds of thought and intention. But here's where most people miss the critical opportunity. They approach this sacred window randomly, carrying whatever mental baggage happened to occupy their thoughts throughout the day. Worries about tomorrow's deadline, replaying that difficult conversation, or simply letting their mind wander aimlessly into sleep. This is like having access to the world's most sophisticated programming system and using it to install random, outdated software. The ancient practitioners discovered a specific sequence that maximizes this receptive state, and it begins with something beautifully simple, yet profoundly powerful. Before programming any new desires, they understood the necessity of establishing the right vibrational foundation. This foundation starts with genuine appreciation for what already exists in your current reality. Picture this scenario. Maria, a struggling entrepreneur, had been trying every manifestation technique imaginable with minimal results. Her mind was constantly focused on what was missing: the lack of clients, the unpaid bills, the mounting pressure. Then she learned about this foundational principle. Each night, before attempting to program any new desires, she began acknowledging 3 specific blessings from her current life. Not generic statements, but heartfelt recognition of real experiences from that very day. A simple like acknowledges the connection we've created here and ensures others seeking this deeper truth will find their way to these discoveries. The transformation wasn't immediate, but it was undeniable. As Maria's nightly practice shifted from desperation to appreciation, something fundamental changed in her energy signature. Clients began responding to her differently. Opportunities that had been invisible suddenly became apparent. Her external reality began reflecting the internal shift from scarcity consciousness to abundance awareness. This reveals a hidden truth about how consciousness operates. Your mind cannot simultaneously vibrate at frequencies of lack and abundance. When you enter sleep carrying genuine gratitude, you're essentially tuning your entire being to the frequency of receiving more reasons to be grateful. This isn't wishful thinking. This is working with the mathematical precision of vibrational alignment. The sequence unfolds with elegant simplicity. First, you anchor yourself in appreciation for 3 current blessings, allowing this elevated emotional state to permeate your entire being. Then, from this foundation of abundance consciousness, you begin programming your future reality through carefully crafted affirmations. But these aren't hopes or wishes. They're statements declared as if your desired reality already exists, spoken with the certainty of someone reporting established facts. This dual approach creates something extraordinary in your neural architecture. The gratitude statements activate neural pathways associated with abundance and satisfaction, while the future-focused affirmations, stated as present realities, begin carving new neural highways toward your desired outcomes. Your brain, in this receptive theta state, accepts both the appreciation and the new programming as equally valid experiences. The impact extends far beyond simple goal achievement. People who master this practice report fundamental shifts in their decision-making abilities, their confidence levels, their creative problem-solving skills, and their capacity to recognize opportunities that others miss entirely. It's as if they've gained access to a higher resolution version of reality, where possibilities that were previously invisible suddenly become apparent. This phenomenon occurs because your sleeping mind operates from a completely different paradigm than your waking consciousness. Free from the constraints of linear thinking and logical limitations, it can perceive connections and solutions that seem impossible from ordinary awareness. When you program this expanded consciousness with your desires, you're essentially giving the universe's most sophisticated manifestation system direct instructions about what to create. But there's an even deeper layer to this process that most people never discover, involving the specific way your consciousness interfaces with what quantum physicists are now beginning to understand about the malleable nature of reality itself. Write in the comments, grateful and ready, if you're beginning to sense how this foundational practice could change everything about your manifestation journey. Now, I want to go even deeper into this phenomenon because there's a hidden truth about how your consciousness interfaces with the physical world that reveals why certain manifestation techniques work while others fail completely. What I'm about to share with you involves a practice so simple that most people dismiss it as too basic to be effective, yet neuroscience is now proving why this ancient method creates such profound results. The revelation centers around something that happens when you physically write your intentions by hand. This isn't about typing on a keyboard or tapping on your phone. There's something uniquely powerful about the connection between your hand, a pen, and paper that creates an entirely different type of neural activation. When you write by hand, you engage brain regions that remain dormant during other forms of communication, essentially creating a direct highway between your conscious intentions and your subconscious programming center. Think about the last time you wrote something meaningful by hand. Perhaps you noticed how the act itself felt different from typing the same words. There's a deliberate quality to handwriting that forces your mind to slow down, to be more intentional with each word. This slower pace isn't a limitation, it's actually the key to deeper programming. As your hand forms each letter, your brain is creating multiple neural pathways simultaneously, encoding your desires not just as thoughts, but as physical memories embedded in your nervous system. But here's where the practice becomes truly extraordinary. The ancient wisdom keepers discovered that placing these handwritten intentions beneath your pillow creates what modern energy researchers might call a resonant field. Your written words continue emanating their vibrational frequency throughout the night, creating an energetic bridge between your conscious desires and the vast creative power of your sleeping mind. I remember working with a client named David who had been struggling with career stagnation for years. Despite his talents and efforts, opportunities seemed to slip through his fingers repeatedly. His breakthrough came when he began writing his career intentions by hand each night before sleep. Not just any writing, specific, heartfelt descriptions of his ideal professional life, crafted with the same care an artist puts into a masterpiece. The impact was remarkable, not because of any mystical properties, but because of how this practice engaged his entire neurological system. As David wrote, he was simultaneously visualizing, feeling, and physically encoding his desires into his nervous system. Then, as these intentions rested beneath his pillow throughout the night, they continued influencing his subconscious processing in ways that digital text or mental visualization alone could never achieve. Within weeks, David's decision-making abilities sharpened dramatically. He began noticing opportunities that had been present all along, but somehow invisible to his previous mindset. His confidence in professional situations increased naturally, as if his handwritten intentions had been quietly rewiring his self-concept during sleep. The written words had become anchors in his subconscious mind, creating stable reference points for his new identity to crystallize around. This process works because your subconscious mind operates more like a sophisticated recording system than a logical computer. It responds to tangible, multisensory input much more powerfully than abstract thoughts. When you write your intentions by hand, you're creating what neuroscientists call embodied cognition. Your desires become embedded not just in your thinking, but in your physical nervous system, your muscle memory, your entire biological being. The journey of transformation accelerates because you're no longer trying to convince your mind of something new. Instead, you're providing your subconscious with concrete evidence that these desires are real, important, and worthy of manifestation. The physical act of writing signals to your deeper mind that these intentions deserve serious attention and energy allocation. There's also something profoundly personal about this practice that creates an intimate connection between you and your desires. In our digital age, we've lost touch with the meditative quality of handwriting, the way it forces us to slow down and truly connect with our thoughts. When you return to this ancient practice, you're not just programming your subconscious, you're remembering how to communicate with the deepest parts of yourself. But the real magic happens during sleep itself, when your written intentions continue their behind-the-scenes work, influencing your dream content, your processing of daily experiences, and your unconscious decision-making in ways that create seemingly miraculous alignment with your desires. Write in the comments, pen to paper works, if you're ready to discover how this simple practice could revolutionize your entire manifestation journey. Now, I want to reveal something that might completely shift your perspective on the space where you sleep. Most people treat their bedroom as merely functional, a place to collapse after a long day. But what if I told you that your sleeping environment holds manifestation potential that rivals any technique you could ever practice? The hidden truth is that every single object within your bedroom walls is either amplifying your sleep programming power or quietly sabotaging it. This revelation struck me during a consultation with a woman named Jennifer who had been practicing sleep programming diligently for months with disappointing results. Her techniques were flawless, her intentions clear, yet her manifestations remained stubbornly elusive. When I visited her home, the answer became immediately apparent. Her bedroom was filled with reminders of past failures, photos from a relationship that ended badly, books about financial struggle. Even the color scheme radiated an energy of defeat and resignation. The impact of physical environment on consciousness operates through principles that modern science is only beginning to understand. Your subconscious mind reads environmental cues continuously, even during sleep, processing information from colors, scents, textures, and symbolic objects. These elements create what researchers call environmental psychology. They literally shape your mental and emotional states without your conscious awareness. Think about how you feel when you enter a space filled with natural light, fresh flowers, and harmonious colors compared to a cluttered, dimly lit room with harsh, artificial lighting. Your nervous system responds immediately, adjusting your mood, energy levels, and even your capacity for creative thinking. Now imagine this same principle operating throughout your sleep, when your mind is most receptive to environmental influence. The transformation begins when you recognize your bedroom as a sacred manifestation chamber rather than just a sleeping space. Every color whispers to your subconscious mind. Soft blues invite profound peace and mental clarity, while rich purples awaken spiritual connection and intuitive insights. Scents bypass your conscious thought entirely, speaking directly to the limbic system where emotions and memories intertwine. Lavender opens psychic channels and enhances receptivity, while vanilla naturally attracts abundance consciousness. But there's another practice that works synergistically with environmental programming, one that addresses perhaps the most fundamental barrier to manifestation: your relationship with yourself. This hidden truth emerged through my work with countless individuals who had mastered every external technique, yet remained blocked by internal resistance they couldn't identify. If these insights resonated deeply, consider subscribing, because I regularly share advanced consciousness techniques that most people never discover. You'll want to be here for what comes next. The breakthrough involves understanding that your self-image operates like a thermostat, automatically adjusting your external circumstances to match your internal sense of worthiness. Most people carry decades of accumulated self-criticism, layered like sediment in their subconscious mind. These critical voices become particularly active during vulnerable moments, including the transition into sleep. The ancient practice of nighttime mirror work transforms this dynamic completely. Standing before your mirror in gentle candlelight before sleep creates an intimate ritual of self-acceptance that bypasses normal psychological defenses. In this soft, forgiving light, you see yourself differently, not with the harsh judgment of fluorescent bathroom lighting, but with the compassion you might show a beloved friend. The words you speak to your reflection during these moments penetrate far deeper than positive affirmations practiced during regular consciousness. Your sleeping mind possesses extraordinary plasticity, a capacity for change that surpasses all waking efforts. When you address yourself with genuine love and acceptance in this receptive state, you're literally rewiring neural pathways that have carried patterns of self-judgment for years. I witnessed this transformation in Marcus, a successful businessman who had achieved external success, yet remained haunted by internal criticism. His nighttime mirror practice began simply, looking into his own eyes and speaking one statement of appreciation for his efforts that day. Initially, this felt forced and uncomfortable, but as weeks passed, something shifted behind the scenes of his consciousness. His inner dialogue became gentler, his decisions more confident, his presence more magnetic. People began responding to him differently because he had fundamentally altered the energy signature he projected into the world. The revelation lies in understanding that your sleeping mind accepts whatever emotional and energetic input you provide just before surrender. When that input involves genuine self-love rather than criticism, you create conditions for profound overnight transformation. Your subconscious mind, freed from conscious resistance, begins integrating this new self-image as your baseline reality, rather than fighting against it. The combination of environmental programming and self-love practices creates a synergistic effect that amplifies both techniques exponentially. Your sacred sleeping space supports the emotional work, while the mirror practice ensures that your internal landscape matches the external manifestation power you're cultivating. Write in the comments, "Sacred space activated," if you're beginning to understand how your environment and self-relationship work together to create unstoppable manifestation momentum. What happens when you combine the power of your own voice with the receptive state of your sleeping mind reveals perhaps the most profound shortcut to lasting transformation that I've ever encountered. The discovery emerged through my work with clients who had mastered the environmental and mirror practices, yet hungered for something that could penetrate even deeper into their subconscious programming. The breakthrough involves understanding how sound waves interact with your consciousness during sleep. Unlike visual input, which fades as your eyes close, auditory information continues reaching your subconscious throughout the night. Your ears never truly sleep. They remain active sentinels, processing sound frequencies that directly influence your neural activity and dream content. This creates an extraordinary opportunity for continuous programming that operates while your conscious mind rests completely. The most powerful application of this principle involves your own voice speaking words of encouragement and empowerment. When you record yourself delivering positive affirmations and play these recordings as you drift into sleep, something remarkable occurs behind the scenes of your consciousness. Your voice carries a unique vibrational signature that your subconscious recognizes as authentically yours, bypassing the skepticism that often accompanies external affirmations. I worked with a man named Robert who had struggled with confidence issues his entire adult life. Despite professional success, he battled an inner critic that undermined every achievement. Traditional positive thinking exercises felt forced and artificial to him. The transformation began when Robert started recording simple statements of self-acceptance in his own voice. Declarations like, "I trust my decisions, my contributions have value," and "I am worthy of success." Playing these recordings as he fell asleep each night created a gentle yet persistent influence on his subconscious mind. Unlike aggressive, self-improvement techniques that trigger resistance, his own voice became a trusted companion, gradually dissolving decades of self-doubt. Within months, Robert's demeanor shifted noticeably. His posture straightened, his voice grew stronger, and his presence commanded respect in ways that seemed to emerge naturally rather than through forced effort. The impact extends beyond personal confidence into practical decision-making abilities. Your sleeping mind operates as a sophisticated information processing system, connecting patterns and possibilities that remain invisible to conscious analysis. When you learn to deliberately engage this inner compass through dream inquiry, you tap into guidance that can revolutionize your life trajectory. The practice begins with understanding that your subconscious holds access to information beyond your normal awareness. Every interaction you've ever had, every piece of knowledge you've encountered, every subtle pattern you've observed, all of this data remains stored in your deeper mind, waiting to be synthesized into wisdom. During sleep, when analytical thinking stops interfering, this vast database becomes fully accessible. The technique involves presenting specific questions to your subconscious just before sleep, then releasing them completely without trying to force answers. Think of it as consulting the wisest advisor imaginable, one who has perfect knowledge of your situation, understands all the variables involved, and can perceive outcomes that logical thinking cannot calculate. A client named Rebecca exemplified this perfectly. Facing a crucial business decision about expanding into international markets, she spent weeks analyzing data and consulting experts without clarity. The breakthrough came when she began asking her sleeping mind for guidance. Each night, she would pose the question simply and directly. "Show me the right path for my business expansion." Rather than trying to think through the answer, she released the question into the wisdom of her unconscious processing. The guidance arrived not as dramatic dreams, but as subtle shifts in her intuition and decision-making clarity. Morning insights began flowing naturally. She found herself noticing details about international markets that she had previously overlooked. Conversations with potential partners revealed information that proved crucial. Her sleeping mind had been working tirelessly behind the scenes, processing complex variables and presenting solutions through her everyday awareness. This inner compass operates most effectively when you approach it with genuine respect for your subconscious wisdom rather than demanding immediate answers. Your deeper mind responds to questions asked with sincere openness and trust, revealing insights that emerge through various channels: dream symbols, morning clarity, intuitive hunches, or meaningful synchronicities that appear throughout your day. Now, I want to explore something even more fascinating about how your sleeping consciousness can transcend the boundaries of ordinary time and space, accessing wisdom that seems to come from beyond your individual experience. Write in the comments, "Inner wisdom activated," if you're ready to discover how your sleeping mind can become your most trusted advisor for life's biggest decisions. The revelation deepens when you understand what actually happens behind the scenes during your REM sleep cycles. This isn't just passive rest. Your mind becomes an extraordinary processing system that operates according to principles completely different from daytime consciousness. Free from the constraints of logic and linear thinking, your sleeping brain begins weaving together patterns and possibilities in ways that transcend every limitation of ordinary cognition. Scientists studying REM sleep have discovered something that ancient wisdom keepers knew intuitively. During these cycles, your mind accesses information processing capabilities that seem almost supernatural from a waking perspective. Neural networks that normally operate independently begin communicating in complex symphonies of connection. Your brain literally rewires itself, creating new pathways between previously unrelated concepts, memories, and possibilities. This is why breakthrough solutions often appear with startling clarity after a night's rest. Your conscious mind might struggle for weeks trying to solve a problem through logical analysis, then wake up one morning with the perfect answer fully formed in your awareness. This isn't coincidence. It's your REM sleep processing power at work, synthesizing information in ways that rational thought could never achieve. If something shifted within you tonight that helps this understanding reach others who are ready for these revelations about sleeping consciousness, the journey becomes even more profound when you learn to deliberately engage this processing power through sacred questioning. Rather than simply hoping for random insights, you can direct your sleeping mind towards specific areas where you need guidance. The key lies in how you present these questions to your subconscious, not as demands for immediate answers, but as gentle invitations for wisdom to emerge in perfect timing. I remember working with Eleanor, a talented artist facing a crossroads about her creative direction. She had multiple opportunities, but couldn't determine which path would lead to fulfillment. Traditional decision-making approaches left her more confused than ever. The breakthrough came when she learned to hold her question lightly in her consciousness just before sleep, like cradling a precious seed that needed the right conditions to sprout. Each night, Elena would settle into bed and silently present her inquiry to the wisdom of her sleeping mind. Show me the creative path that serves my highest good. Instead of trying to force an answer or analyze possibilities, she would visualize placing this question into a golden envelope, then releasing it to the infinite intelligence that operates beyond conscious limitations. The guidance didn't arrive as dramatic revelations, but through subtle shifts in her intuitive knowing. Dreams began containing symbols that pointed toward one particular artistic direction. Conversations with strangers would unexpectedly provide pieces of insight. Even her creative process during waking hours began flowing toward solutions that felt perfectly aligned with her deeper purpose. This process works because your REM sleep mind operates in a quantum field of possibility where past, present, and future information streams converge. Your sleeping consciousness can perceive the energetic resonance of different choices, sensing which decisions lead toward expansion and which toward contraction. It's like having access to a cosmic GPS system that can navigate the maze of life choices with precision beyond logical calculation. The practice requires a fundamental shift in how you approach problem solving. Instead of trying to figure everything out through mental effort, you learn to trust the superior intelligence of your unconscious processing systems. Your sleeping mind has access to information that your waking awareness cannot perceive. Subtle energetic patterns, unconscious social cues, intuitive knowledge that emerges from the collective field of human experience. The transformation accelerates when you realize that every challenge in your life contains the seeds of its own solution, but these answers often exist beyond the reach of analytical thinking. Your REM sleep processing power can access this hidden wisdom, connecting dots that conscious analysis misses entirely. The key is learning to ask the right questions in the right way, then creating space for answers to emerge through the natural intelligence of your sleeping consciousness. This deeper understanding of how your mind processes guidance during sleep opens the door to even more sophisticated techniques that work with the fundamental fabric of reality itself. Write in the comments, "My mind knows the way," if you're ready to trust the extraordinary processing power that operates while you sleep. Now I want to explore something that pushes the boundaries of what most people believe possible about consciousness and reality creation. The revelation involves understanding that the boundary between dream and reality exists only in your waking mind's need to categorize experiences. When you learn to enter your dreams with full conscious awareness, you access a dimension where the fundamental laws of manifestation operate with breathtaking directness. This discovery emerged through my research into lucid dreaming, but what I found went far beyond simple dream control. In the lucid state, your consciousness enters a laboratory of pure creation where thought instantly becomes form. There's no delay, no resistance, no gap between intention and manifestation. Your brain, in this extraordinary state, cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual physical events. Both leave identical neural imprints on your nervous system. The implications are staggering. When you master lucid dreaming and use it deliberately for programming your subconscious, you're essentially providing your mind with direct, experiential evidence of your desired reality. Instead of trying to convince your subconscious that change is possible, you're giving it actual memories of living your transformed life. I worked with a woman named Patricia who had struggled with public speaking anxiety for decades. Traditional approaches had provided minimal relief because her fear was deeply embedded in past embarrassing experiences. The transformation came when Patricia learned to become conscious within her dreams and deliberately practiced delivering presentations with complete confidence and mastery. Night after night, she spoke to enthusiastic audiences in her lucid dreams, feeling the emotions of success, receiving thunderous applause, experiencing the profound satisfaction of sharing her message powerfully. The impact on her waking reality was nothing short of remarkable. Within weeks, Patricia's anxiety began dissolving naturally. Her nervous system had been reprogrammed with positive memories of successful speaking experiences. When real opportunities arose, her body and mind responded from these new neural pathways, rather than old patterns of fear. But there's another aspect of sleep that reveals hidden truths about the journey of transformation. One that most people experience as frustration rather than recognizing it as profound communication from their deeper self. The restless nights, the tossing and turning, the minds that race when bodies desperately need rest. These aren't random afflictions but meaningful messages from your subconscious mind. Sleeplessness often signals that your inner self is resisting outdated beliefs and patterns that no longer serve your evolution. Think about this from a different perspective. Your conscious mind might be comfortable maintaining familiar routines and thought patterns, but your subconscious wisdom recognizes when these old programs have become obstacles to your growth. The hidden truth is that insomnia frequently occurs during periods of major life transitions, not as a problem to be medicated away, but as a natural part of the transformation process. Your deeper mind is literally clearing away psychological debris, dissolving limiting beliefs, and creating space for new empowering programs to take root. I've witnessed this pattern repeatedly in clients who initially came seeking help for sleep problems, only to discover that their restlessness was actually their inner wisdom calling for attention. One client, Marcus, had been battling insomnia for months after starting a new business venture. His logical mind interpreted this as stress-related sleep disruption, but the deeper truth revealed itself when he learned to sit quietly with his nighttime restlessness rather than fighting against it. During these wakeful hours, Marcus began recognizing fears and limiting beliefs about success that had been operating beneath his conscious awareness. His sleeplessness was his subconscious mind's way of bringing these hidden obstacles to the surface so they could be acknowledged and released. As he worked with these insights rather than against them, his sleep naturally returned, bringing with it a profound sense of clarity about his business direction. This understanding completely reframes the experience of difficult nights. Instead of viewing sleeplessness as failure or dysfunction, you begin recognizing these hours as sacred opportunities for inner communication. Your subconscious is essentially requesting a conversation, seeking acknowledgement of something important that needs attention on your transformation journey. The process involves developing a different relationship with nighttime restlessness, approaching it with curiosity rather than frustration. When you create space for this inner dialogue, instead of forcing sleep through external interventions, you often discover that the very act of acknowledgement dissolves the resistance that was preventing rest. Now, I want to delve into how the cosmic rhythms that govern our planet create natural windows of enhanced manifestation power that most people completely ignore. Write in the comments, "I listen to my inner wisdom," if you're beginning to understand how both lucid dreams and restless nights can become powerful allies in your transformation journey. The deeper journey into transformation reveals a fundamental principle that most people resist because it seems counterintuitive to everything we've been taught about overcoming obstacles. The hidden truth is that the fears and uncomfortable emotions you've been trying to eliminate through willpower and positive thinking might actually be the keys to unlocking your greatest manifestation power. This revelation emerged through my work with clients who had mastered every technique imaginable, yet remained stuck, unable to break through to the next level of their potential. The pattern became clear. They were all fighting against parts of themselves rather than learning to work with the full spectrum of their emotional experience. The breakthrough came when they discovered that emotional blockages aren't enemies to be conquered, but messengers carrying vital information about their transformation journey. When you sit quietly with your fears instead of pushing them away, something extraordinary happens behind the scenes of your consciousness. These emotions, which seem like obstacles, begin revealing the limiting beliefs and outdated patterns that have been operating beneath your awareness. Your anxiety about success might be protecting you from old programming about visibility and safety. Your fear of failure could be highlighting beliefs about worthiness that need gentle attention and healing. I worked with a man named Christopher who had been battling persistent anxiety that prevented restful sleep for months. Every manifestation technique he tried seemed to increase his inner turbulence rather than create peace. The transformation began when Christopher learned to welcome his anxiety as a teacher rather than treating it as an enemy. During his restless nights, instead of fighting for sleep, he would sit quietly and ask his fear what it was trying to communicate. The revelations were profound. His anxiety wasn't random. It was his subconscious mind's way of protecting him from repeating past disappointments. As Christopher acknowledged these fears with genuine compassion, something shifted fundamentally in his entire system. The emotional resistance that had been blocking his sleep and his manifestations began dissolving naturally. He wasn't suppressing his fears or overriding them with positivity. He was integrating them into a more complete understanding of himself. This emotional clearing creates the perfect foundation for working with natural cosmic rhythms that most people never recognize as manifestation opportunities. Your subconscious mind doesn't exist in isolation. It responds to the same celestial influences that govern ocean tides and plant growth cycles. The moon's gravitational pull affects not just water bodies, but the electromagnetic field of your consciousness itself. The impact becomes apparent when you understand that different lunar phases create distinct windows of manifestation power. During new moon periods, when the night sky appears darkest, your subconscious mind enters its most receptive state for receiving fresh programming. Think of it as cosmic soil preparation. The darkness creates perfect conditions for planting new intentions in the fertile ground of your sleeping consciousness. Ancient wisdom keepers tracked these rhythms religiously because they understood that timing amplifies manifestation power exponentially. A woman named Isabella discovered this truth during a particularly challenging period when her business was struggling. She had been working with sleep programming for weeks with modest results until she began aligning her practices with lunar cycles. During the new moon, Isabella would write her freshest business intentions, focusing on breakthrough opportunities and expanded abundance. She could feel the difference immediately. Her mind seemed more receptive, her visualizations more vivid, her entire being more aligned with possibility. Within 2 months, her business transformed in ways that seemed to defy logical explanation. New clients appeared at exactly the right moments, partnerships formed effortlessly, and opportunities materialized with perfect timing. The full moon creates a different type of manifestation window, one designed for amplification rather than initial planting. During these peak lunar periods, the energy you've been building through your nightly practices reaches maximum intensity. Your existing intentions don't just continue growing, they explode into accelerated manifestation like flowers blooming in time-lapse photography. Modern science confirms what mystics have always known. Human consciousness responds to lunar cycles through measurable shifts in brainwave patterns and neurotransmitter activity. Your manifestation power isn't constant throughout the month, but rises and falls with these natural rhythms. When you align your sleep programming practices with these cosmic cycles, you're working with universal forces rather than against them. The revelation extends beyond simple timing into understanding how your individual consciousness participates in larger patterns of cosmic intelligence that operate on scales far beyond personal desire fulfillment. Write in the comments, cosmic timing, understood, if you're beginning to sense how emotional clearing and lunar alignment could revolutionize your manifestation results. This cosmic intelligence reveals itself most powerfully during new moon phases, when the night sky appears completely dark and your consciousness enters its most fertile state for receiving fresh programming. During these periods, something extraordinary happens to your mental landscape. It becomes like newly tilled earth, soft and receptive, ready to nurture whatever seeds of intention you choose to plant. The hidden truth about new moon energy involves understanding how darkness affects your pineal gland and melatonin production in ways that enhance psychic receptivity. Without the distraction of reflected moonlight, your mind naturally turns inward, accessing deeper levels of consciousness that remain dormant during brighter lunar phases. This isn't mystical speculation, it's measurable biochemistry that creates optimal conditions for subconscious reprogramming. I discovered this principle through a client named Alexander, who had been practicing sleep programming for months with inconsistent results. His breakthrough came when he began timing his most important intention-setting sessions with new moon cycles. During these dark nights, Alexander would lie in bed and feel his mind opening like a flower, responding to perfect growing conditions. His visualizations became more vivid, his affirmations felt more real, and his entire being seemed to resonate with possibility in ways that ordinary nights couldn't match. The transformation wasn't just about timing. It involved understanding how environmental energy either supports or sabotages this natural receptivity. Alexander's bedroom had unknowingly become a museum of past disappointments, old photos from failed relationships, books about struggle and hardship, even furniture inherited from relatives who had lived lives of quiet desperation. These objects were broadcasting frequencies of limitation directly into his subconscious mind every single night. The revelation that transformed everything involved recognizing that your sleeping space operates like a radio transmitter, constantly broadcasting energetic signals that either amplify your manifestation power or quietly undermine it. Every object within your bedroom walls carries an energetic signature based on the memories, emotions, and associations connected to it. Your subconscious mind reads these signals continuously, even during deep sleep, allowing them to influence your dreams, your healing processes, and your manifestation potential. The journey of space clearing isn't about perfection or expensive renovations. It's about conscious curation of the energy that surrounds your most vulnerable and receptive hours. When Alexander removed objects that triggered memories of lack and limitation, he immediately felt the shift in his bedroom's atmosphere. The space began feeling lighter, more expansive, more supportive of his growth, rather than subtly anchoring him to past disappointments. But the real magic emerged when he deliberately placed objects that symbolized his deepest desires within view of his sleeping position. A small crystal representing abundance, a photo of his dream destination, a symbolic key representing new opportunities. These weren't mere decorations. They became energetic anchors that focused his manifestation energy like cosmic magnets, drawing his desires closer throughout each night's sleep. The impact operates through principles that quantum physics is beginning to explain. Your consciousness doesn't end at your skin, it extends into your environment, creating field effects that influence the probability of different outcomes manifesting. When you surround your sleeping form with objects that vibrate at the frequency of your desires, you create a sustained resonance field that works on your behalf for 8 hours every night. This environmental programming works synergistically with new moon timing to create manifestation windows of extraordinary power. During dark moon phases, when your mind is most receptive, sleeping in a space that's been consciously aligned with your desires creates conditions for breakthrough transformation that can seem almost miraculous to outside observers. The revelations deepen when you realize that this environmental influence extends beyond physical objects into realms that most people never consider as part of their manifestation practice. Write in the comments, space and timing aligned, if you're ready to discover how environmental consciousness and cosmic timing can accelerate your transformation beyond anything you've experienced before. These revelations lead us into territory that bridges ancient wisdom with modern quantum physics discoveries. The hidden truth involves understanding how certain crystalline structures can amplify and sustain the energetic frequencies you're programming into your subconscious during sleep. This isn't about mystical beliefs. It's about recognizing how molecular structures interact with the electromagnetic fields generated by your consciousness. Crystals possess unique atomic arrangements that create what scientists call piezoelectric properties. When subjected to pressure or energy input, they generate measurable electrical responses. Your consciousness, operating through bioelectrical brain activity, creates energy fields that these crystalline structures can actually detect, store, and retransmit. When you program a crystal with specific intentions before sleep, you're essentially creating a broadcasting station that continues emanating your desired frequencies throughout the night. The discovery of this principle transformed my understanding of manifestation acceleration. I began working with a client named Victoria, who had plateaued in her sleep programming results despite months of consistent practice. The breakthrough came when she learned to charge specific crystals with her intentions each evening, then place them strategically around her sleeping space. Clear quartz for amplifying overall manifestation power, amethyst for enhancing spiritual connection and intuitive insights, citrine for attracting abundance consciousness. The impact was immediate and undeniable. Victoria's manifestations began accelerating beyond anything she had previously experienced. But more importantly, she reported feeling supported by an invisible field of energy that seemed to maintain her positive programming even when her conscious mind wandered into doubt or distraction. The crystals had become like faithful companions, continuously broadcasting her intentions while she slept, creating a resonance field that kept her aligned with her desires. This reveals something profound about how manifestation actually works behind the scenes of reality. Your consciousness doesn't operate in isolation. It participates in vast networks of energetic interaction that extend far beyond your physical body. When you learn to work with tools that amplify and sustain your intention frequencies, you multiply your manifestation power exponentially. But there's an even more profound revelation about the transformation journey that involves completely reframing your relationship with challenging emotions. Most manifestation approaches treat difficult feelings as obstacles to overcome, but this perspective misses a crucial truth about how your subconscious mind actually operates. Your deeper consciousness doesn't distinguish between positive and negative emotions. It recognizes only the raw power and creative potential that all emotions contain. This understanding revolutionized my approach to working with clients who struggled with persistent negative feelings that seemed to sabotage their manifestation efforts. Instead of teaching them to suppress or ignore these emotions, I began showing them how to transform challenging feelings into rocket fuel for their desires. The process involves recognizing that anger, fear, frustration, and even grief carry tremendous energetic charge that can be consciously redirected toward manifestation. The technique emerged through working with Sarah, an entrepreneur whose business had failed, leaving her battling intense feelings of shame and disappointment. Traditional positive thinking approaches felt hollow and forced given the depth of her emotional pain. The breakthrough came when Sarah learned to approach her difficult emotions as raw energy waiting to be transformed rather than problems to be solved. During her sleep programming sessions, instead of trying to feel positive about her situation, Sarah would gather all her challenging emotions, the shame, the fear, the anger at herself, and consciously offer them to her subconscious mind as fuel for creating something better. She would visualize these intense feelings as powerful energy that could be redirected toward building her next venture with greater wisdom and strength. The transformation was remarkable. Sarah's new business emerged with an authenticity and resilience that her previous venture had lacked. She had transmuted her painful experiences into genuine wisdom about entrepreneurship, customer service, and sustainable growth. Her difficult emotions hadn't been obstacles to overcome. They had been the very energy source that powered her most successful manifestation. This emotional alchemy operates most effectively during sleep because your conscious resistance naturally dissolves, allowing these transformative processes to occur without interference from logical thinking or social conditioning about which emotions are acceptable. Now I want to explore how your sleeping consciousness can transcend the boundaries of individual awareness to access wisdom that seems to flow from beyond your personal experience. Write in the comments, energy. Transformed. If you're beginning to understand how both crystalline amplification and emotional alchemy can become powerful allies in your manifestation journey. The journey into advanced manifestation reveals a hidden truth that connects ancient mathematical wisdom with cutting-edge quantum physics discoveries. The universe doesn't operate randomly. It speaks through precise mathematical languages embedded in every natural form, from the spiral arrangement of galaxy arms to the geometric patterns in flower petals. When you align your sleep programming with these fundamental patterns, you tap directly into the architectural blueprints that govern all creation. This revelation struck me during research into why certain manifestation practices produce dramatically faster results than others. The breakthrough came when I discovered that the most successful practitioners unconsciously aligned their desires with sacred geometric principles. They weren't just visualizing outcomes. They were organizing their intentions, according to mathematical patterns that resonate with the very fabric of reality itself. The golden ratio, found throughout nature and classical art, creates harmony and balance at the deepest levels of manifestation. When you visualize your desires arranged in spirals that follow this mathematical sequence, you're literally tuning your intentions to frequencies that the universe recognizes as natural and inevitable. The Fibonacci progression reveals how growth actually occurs in nature, not through linear addition, but through exponential expansion based on precise mathematical relationships. I worked with a client named Gabriel, who had been struggling to manifest significant wealth despite years of dedicated practice. His transformation began when he learned to organize his sleep programming according to these universal patterns. Instead of randomly visualizing abundance, Gabriel would see his financial growth following the precise mathematical progression of the Fibonacci sequence. Each night, he would imagine his income expanding according to this natural pattern of increase. The impact was extraordinary because Gabriel's subconscious mind recognized these mathematical signatures as aligned with universal law rather than fighting against natural principles. His financial opportunities began manifesting with remarkable precision, each breakthrough building naturally upon the previous one, following the exact mathematical progression he had been programming during sleep. But the most profound revelation emerges when you understand how your sleeping consciousness can transcend the linear constraints of time itself. During deep sleep states, your awareness operates in dimensions where past, present, and future exist simultaneously. This isn't metaphorical. Quantum physics demonstrates that time is far more fluid than ordinary perception suggests, and your sleeping mind naturally accesses this non-linear reality. The discovery transforms everything about how manifestation actually works. Your sleeping consciousness can perceive vast webs of probability streams extending in all directions from your current moment. Each decision you make, each thought you think, creates branching timelines that lead toward different possible futures. Most people experience only one timeline at a time through their waking awareness, but your sleeping mind can access multiple probability streams simultaneously. This principle revealed itself through working with a woman named Catherine, who faced a major life decision about relocating for a career opportunity. Traditional decision-making approaches left her paralyzed by uncertainty about the unknown consequences of either choice. The breakthrough came when Catherine learned to explore different timeline possibilities through her sleep consciousness. Each night, she would request to experience various decision outcomes in her dreams. She could literally feel the energetic resonance of staying in her current city versus moving across the country. Her sleeping mind showed her the emotional textures of different choices, the relationships that would form, the challenges and opportunities that lay along each path. This wasn't fantasy. It was her consciousness accessing real probability streams that existed in the quantum field of possibility. Catherine's final decision emerged not from logical analysis, but from direct experience of which timeline felt most aligned with her authentic self. 6 months later, her choice proved remarkably prescient as opportunities unfolded exactly as she had perceived them during her quantum dreaming sessions. This ability to navigate multiple timelines during sleep operates through your consciousness's natural capacity to exist beyond physical constraints. When you learn to direct this quantum awareness deliberately, you can actually select which probability stream to anchor your waking experience within. The process involves understanding that reality is far more malleable than most people realize, particularly during the liminal states of consciousness that occur during sleep transitions when your awareness naturally expands beyond ordinary limitations. Now, I want to reveal how your sleeping consciousness can connect with intelligence sources that extend far beyond your individual experience, accessing wisdom that seems to flow from the collective knowledge of humanity itself. Write in the comments, Quantum consciousness activated. If you're ready to discover how mathematical principles and timeline navigation can revolutionize your approach to conscious reality creation, this quantum consciousness activation becomes even more profound when you understand how specific sound frequencies can create resonant bridges between your conscious intentions and the vast ocean of your subconscious mind. The revelation involves recognizing that your brain operates essentially as a sophisticated musical instrument with different frequencies, creating distinctly different states of consciousness and manifestation potential. Modern research has identified certain sound frequencies that naturally synchronize with your brain waves during sleep transitions, creating harmonious conditions for accelerated programming. The 528 Hz frequency, known as the miracle tone, resonates with the mathematical patterns found in healthy DNA and natural healing processes. When you listen to this frequency as you drift into sleep, your entire nervous system begins vibrating in harmony with regeneration and transformation. The 432 Hz frequency operates on a different level, creating what researchers call natural harmony because it aligns with the mathematical relationships found throughout the cosmos. This frequency appears in the orbital patterns of planets, the growth cycles of plants, and even the resonant frequencies of the human heart. When your sleep programming sessions incorporate these carefully chosen sounds, you're essentially tuning your consciousness to cosmic frequencies that support manifestation at the deepest levels. I discovered this principle through working with James, a musician who understood frequency from a technical perspective, but had never applied it to manifestation work. His transformation began when he started creating custom soundscapes for his sleep programming sessions, using precise frequencies that matched his manifestation goals. James found that his desired outcomes began materializing with stunning precision and speed. The impact extends beyond simple relaxation into actual cellular reprogramming. These frequencies influence your DNA expression, your hormone production, and your neural pathway formation in ways that support whatever intentions you're programming during sleep. Your body becomes a living tuning fork, resonating with manifestation frequencies that continue working throughout your rest cycles. But the most extraordinary revelation involves understanding how your consciousness during sleep can access wisdom that extends far beyond your individual experience. The hidden truth is that your DNA carries more than just physical traits. It holds the accumulated wisdom, traumas, and triumphs of countless generations. During sleep, when your personal consciousness expands beyond individual boundaries, these ancestral memories become accessible for both healing and empowerment. This discovery emerged through my work with clients who struggled with seemingly inexplicable blocks to success that couldn't be traced to their personal experiences. The breakthrough came when we began exploring how inherited patterns might be influencing their manifestation capabilities. Through careful sleep programming work, they learned to connect with the wisdom and strength of their ancestral lineage while simultaneously healing patterns that no longer served their evolution. I worked with a woman named Rebecca, who had battled money blocks despite having no personal experiences of financial trauma. The revelation came during a sleep session where she connected with her grandmother's consciousness, a woman who had lived through the Great Depression and carried deep fears about security and scarcity. Rebecca realized she had inherited not just her grandmother's eyes, but also her survival-based relationship with money. The transformation involved using her sleep consciousness to send healing energy backward through her family line while simultaneously accessing the entrepreneurial gifts that also existed in her ancestry. Her great-great-grandfather had been a successful inventor, and through sleep work, Rebecca began accessing his innovative mindset and business acumen. Within months, her financial reality transformed as she healed inherited limitations while activating inherited gifts. This ancestral healing work operates through principles that epigenetics is beginning to explain. Your Gene expression can be influenced by consciousness and emotional states, meaning that healing work during sleep can actually modify which aspects of your genetic heritage become active in your life. You're not just changing your personal patterns, you're potentially healing generations of family trauma while activating dormant gifts that have been waiting for the right consciousness to awaken them. The process works most effectively during sleep because your expanded awareness can transcend individual identity to touch the collective wisdom of your lineage. These connections feel profoundly real because they are real. You're accessing actual information stored in your cellular memory and the morphic field of your family system. Now, I want to explore how this individual transformation work connects you to even larger networks of consciousness that can accelerate your evolution beyond anything you've imagined possible. Write in the comments, Ancestral Healing Activated, if you're ready to discover how sound frequencies and family wisdom can unlock manifestation potential that's been dormant in your lineage for generations. These larger networks of consciousness reveal themselves when you recognize that your individual awareness represents just one wave in a vast ocean of collective human experience. During sleep, the boundaries that separate your consciousness from the accumulated wisdom of humanity begin dissolving, opening doorways to a living library of knowledge that extends far beyond anything you could access through personal experience alone. This phenomenon emerged clearly through my research with advanced practitioners who reported receiving insights during sleep that seemed to come from sources beyond their individual knowledge base. They would wake up with solutions to complex problems, understanding of subjects they had never studied, or creative inspirations that felt like downloads from some universal intelligence. Initially, I dismissed these reports as imagination until the pattern became undeniable across dozens of cases. The breakthrough in understanding came when I learned about morphic resonance research and collective field theory. Your consciousness, particularly during sleep states, can access what researchers call the collective unconscious, a field of shared human experience and knowledge that transcends individual boundaries. Think of it as a cosmic internet that your sleeping mind can browse freely, downloading information and wisdom from the accumulated experience of our entire species. I worked with a man named Douglas who was struggling to develop an innovative business solution in a field where he had limited expertise. His transformation began when he learned to request specific guidance from the collective wisdom of all successful entrepreneurs throughout history. During his sleep programming sessions, Douglas would open his consciousness to receive insights from this vast network of business, knowledge, and experience. The revelations that emerged were remarkable. Douglas began waking up with marketing strategies he had never encountered, operational insights that seemed to come from seasoned experts, and innovative approaches that combined wisdom from multiple industries in ways his individual thinking could never have synthesized. His business success accelerated dramatically because he was no longer limited to his personal knowledge and experience. This collective consciousness access operates most effectively during sleep because your individual ego naturally steps aside, allowing your awareness to merge with larger patterns of human wisdom and creativity. The insights that flow through this expanded awareness carry a quality of knowing that feels different from ordinary thinking. They arrive complete and fully formed, often accompanied by deep certainty about their truth and relevance. But there's another aspect of sleep consciousness that addresses one of the most fundamental barriers to manifestation, the emotional charge carried by past experiences that continue influencing your present reality. The hidden truth is that your memories aren't fixed recordings, but fluid experiences that respond to the meaning and emotional significance you assign them. During sleep's twilight state, these memories become remarkably malleable, allowing you to consciously revise their impact on your current manifestation potential. This discovery revolutionized my understanding of why certain people remain stuck despite mastering every manifestation technique. They were carrying emotional charges from past experiences that continuously broadcast limiting frequencies into their subconscious mind. Traditional approaches focused on overcoming these memories through willpower or positive thinking, but the real solution involves understanding that memories can actually be transformed at their source. The process works because your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between actual events and vividly reimagined experiences. When you revise a challenging memory during the receptive state before sleep, you create new neural pathways that change how that experience influences your present reality. This isn't about denying what happened. It's about consciously choosing the meaning and emotional impact these events carry in your ongoing life story. I witnessed this transformation in a client named Patricia, who carried deep shame from a business failure that occurred 15 years earlier. Despite her subsequent successes, this memory continued undermining her confidence and limiting her willingness to take entrepreneurial risks. The breakthrough came when Patricia learned to gently revisit this experience during her sleep programming sessions, but this time seeing it through the lens of wisdom and compassion rather than judgment and failure. Night after night, Patricia would reimagine that challenging period, recognizing the valuable lessons it provided, the resilience it built, and the character it forged. As she continued this memory revision practice, the emotional charge around that experience completely transformed. Instead of shame, she felt gratitude for the growth it had catalyzed. Her present-day business decisions began flowing from confidence and wisdom, rather than fear and limitation. Now, I want to explore how this memory transformation work connects to an even deeper level of manifestation mastery that involves recognizing the ultimate nature of consciousness itself. Write in the comments, memories transformed. If you're beginning to understand how collective wisdom, access, and memory revision can free you from limitations you never realized were operating in your subconscious mind, this deeper level of manifestation mastery emerges when you discover the most powerful frequency that human consciousness can generate: genuine gratitude. Most people treat gratitude as a nice spiritual practice or social and courtesy. But the hidden truth is that appreciation resonates at one of the highest measurable frequencies in human consciousness. When you enter sleep carrying this elevated vibration, you create conditions for manifestation acceleration that surpass every other technique I've encountered. The revelation struck me during research into why certain practitioners achieved breakthrough results while others struggled despite following identical procedures. The difference wasn't in their techniques, but in their vibrational starting point. Those who experienced dramatic manifestation acceleration had discovered how to genuinely feel grateful for their current circumstances before programming new desires, creating a foundation frequency that naturally attracted more reasons for appreciation. This operates through what quantum physicists call resonance fields. Your consciousness broadcasts continuously into the universal field, attracting experiences that match your dominant frequency. When that frequency is genuine gratitude, you're essentially transmitting a signal that says, "I'm ready to receive more abundance." The universe responds by delivering circumstances that match this elevated vibration. I worked with a client named Theodore, who had been practicing sleep programming for years with modest results. His breakthrough came when he shifted his entire approach to begin with heartfelt appreciation before attempting any manifestation work. Instead of focusing immediately on what he wanted to create, Theodore would spend several minutes genuinely feeling grateful for current blessings, his health, his relationships, even his challenges that had strengthened his character. The transformation was immediate and profound. Theodore's manifestations began flowing with an ease that surprised him. Opportunities appeared that perfectly matched his desires. People responded to him differently, drawn to the magnetic quality that authentic gratitude creates in your energy field. His entire reality shifted because he had aligned his sleep programming with the frequency of abundance consciousness, rather than starting from subtle vibrations of lack or wanting. But the most profound aspect of this frequency work involves understanding how your voice carries unique vibrational signatures that can penetrate your subconscious mind more deeply than any other form of programming. When you speak your intentions softly into the darkness as you approach sleep's edge, you create sound waves that bypass conscious resistance and travel directly into the fertile soil of your deeper mind. The hidden truth about whispered intentions lies in understanding how vocal vibrations interact with your nervous system during the twilight state. Your voice generates specific frequencies that resonate through your chest cavity, your skull, and your entire body, creating internal sound baths that influence your brainwave patterns and consciousness states. These aren't just words. They're vibrational imprints that encode themselves into your cellular memory. The discovery emerged through working with clients who had struggled with traditional affirmation practices because the words felt hollow or forced when spoken with normal voice volume and energy. The breakthrough came when they learned to whisper their intentions with the same intimate tenderness they might use to comfort a sleeping child. This gentle vocal approach completely bypassed resistance while creating deeper penetration into subconscious programming. I remember working with a woman named Miranda who had been battling financial limitations despite years of manifestation work. Her transformation began when she started whispering her prosperity intentions into the darkness just before sleep. There was something sacred about this intimate practice that made her desires feel more real and achievable than any technique she had previously tried. The whispered words carried emotional authenticity that loud affirmations had lacked. Miranda could feel her intentions settling into her consciousness like seeds finding perfect soil. Within weeks, her relationship with money began shifting at fundamental levels. Instead of approaching abundance from desperation or need, she found herself naturally aligning with prosperity consciousness that felt authentic and sustainable. This practice works because whispered intentions engage your consciousness differently than regular speech. The soft volume requires deeper focus and attention, creating a meditative quality that enhances receptivity. The intimate nature of whispering also activates trust and vulnerability, emotional states that allow profound programming to occur without triggering psychological defense mechanisms. Now, I want to reveal how these individual practices can be integrated into a complete system that transforms your entire approach to conscious reality creation. Write in the comments, "Whispered wisdom received," if you're ready to discover how gratitude, frequency, and intimate vocal programming can create manifestation momentum that feels both natural and extraordinary. This complete system of conscious reality creation reaches its most sophisticated expression when you learn to deliberately guide your consciousness through the layers of your mind, using a technique that bypasses every form of resistance your ego might generate. The revelation involves understanding that your consciousness operates in distinct levels, like floors in a building, and that the deepest manifestation work occurs in the basement levels where your most fundamental programming resides. The golden staircase visualization emerges as perhaps the most elegant method for accessing these profound depths of consciousness. As you lie in bed preparing for sleep, you begin by imagining a magnificent staircase crafted from pure golden light, stretching down into the infinite depths of your mind. With each step you take, counting backward from 10 to 1, your awareness shifts deeper into increasingly receptive states of consciousness. This isn't just guided imagery. It's a sophisticated method for inducing specific brainwave states that enhance your susceptibility to positive programming. The combination of progressive muscle relaxation, rhythmic counting, and vivid visualization creates the ideal neurological conditions for bypassing the critical factor of your conscious mind and planting intentions directly in your subconscious soil. I discovered the power of this technique through working with Margaret, a client who had struggled with deep-seated beliefs about her worthiness for success. Traditional positive affirmations felt forced and artificial to her because they encountered immediate resistance from her logical mind. The transformation began when Margaret learned to use the golden staircase technique to descend beneath the level where her inner critic operated. At the bottom of her imaginary staircase, Margaret found herself in a beautiful garden where her limiting beliefs simply didn't exist. In this peaceful space, she could plant new programs about her worthiness and capabilities without triggering any psychological resistance. The practice worked because she was programming at a level deeper than where her self-doubt resided. Within weeks, Margaret's confidence and decision-making abilities transformed dramatically as these new programs began expressing themselves in her daily life. But the most extraordinary aspect of advanced sleep programming involves transcending the linear constraints of time itself to access wisdom from versions of yourself who have already achieved your desired outcomes. The hidden truth is that your sleeping consciousness naturally operates beyond the boundaries of past, present, and future, existing in a quantum state where all possibilities coexist simultaneously. This revelation emerged through my work with clients facing major life decisions who needed guidance that their current perspective couldn't provide. The breakthrough came when they learned to use their sleep consciousness to communicate directly with their future successful selves, accessing wisdom and knowledge from timelines where their dreams had already been realized. The technique involves understanding that your future self exists as a real probability stream within the quantum field of possibility. During sleep, when your awareness expands beyond ordinary limitations, you can actually connect with this successful version of yourself and receive specific guidance about navigating your current challenges. This isn't fantasy, it's applied quantum consciousness that leverages your mind's natural ability to transcend linear time during sleep states. I worked with a man named Frederick who was considering a major career transition, but felt paralyzed by uncertainty about the potential consequences. His transformation began when he learned to request a guidance from his future self during sleep programming sessions. Frederick would visualize meeting the version of himself who had successfully made this transition and was living the outcome he desired. The guidance that emerged was remarkably specific and practical. His future self revealed insights about timing, approach, and potential challenges that his current perspective couldn't perceive. Following this guidance, Frederick's career transition unfolded with an ease and precision that seemed almost magical to outside observers. He was essentially following a roadmap provided by someone who had already traveled the entire journey. This future self-communication works because your consciousness during sleep accesses what physicists call the quantum field, a realm where all possibilities exist simultaneously and where information can flow backward through time as easily as forward. Now, I want to explore how this temporal consciousness work connects to an even more profound understanding of your ultimate nature and creative potential. Write in the comments, future self-connected, if you're ready to discover how deep consciousness access and temporal wisdom can guide you through any challenge toward inevitable success. This profound understanding of your ultimate creative potential reveals itself when you recognize that your sleeping consciousness naturally resonates with intelligent sources that extend far beyond individual awareness. The revelation involves understanding that during sleep, your mind operates at frequencies that make connection with spiritual guidance not just possible, but virtually inevitable when you approach it with the right intention and receptivity. The discovery emerged through working with clients who reported receiving guidance during sleep that seemed to come from sources of wisdom far greater than their personal knowledge. Initially, I approached these reports with healthy skepticism until the pattern became undeniable. People with no background in spiritual practices were consistently accessing insights that transformed their decision-making abilities and life trajectories in ways that defied logical explanation. The breakthrough in understanding came when I learned about the frequency changes that occur in your brain during sleep transitions. As mental chatter subsides and your consciousness shifts into deeper states, you naturally begin resonating with what researchers call universal intelligence fields. Your awareness becomes like a radio antenna that's finally clear enough to receive signals that are always broadcasting, but usually drowned out by the noise of everyday thinking. I worked with a client named Victoria, who was facing the most challenging period of her business career. Despite her expertise and efforts, every strategy seemed to lead to dead ends. Her transformation began when she learned to quiet her mind before sleep and open herself to guidance from whatever source of wisdom might be available to help her situation. The insights that emerged were remarkable for their clarity and practical applicability. Victoria would wake up with specific strategies that she hadn't considered, understanding of market dynamics that seemed to come from vast business experience, and innovative approaches that felt like gifts from some cosmic consultant. Following this guidance, her business not only survived the challenging period, but emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. This spiritual guidance connection works because your sleeping consciousness operates at expanded levels of awareness, where the boundaries between individual and universal intelligence become permeable. The guidance doesn't come through dramatic visions or mystical experiences. It emerges as enhanced intuition, creative solutions, and practical wisdom that feels like your own thoughts, but carries a quality of knowing that transcends ordinary thinking. But there's another dimension to advanced sleep programming that involves creating detailed inner architectures that serve as blueprints for your outer reality transformation. The revelation lies in understanding that your subconscious mind responds powerfully to spatial and architectural imagery, creating what neuroscientists call cognitive maps that influence your behavior and decision-making in ways that extend far beyond conscious awareness. The memory palace technique, used by ancient orators and modern memory champions, becomes extraordinarily powerful when applied to manifestation work during sleep. By constructing elaborate mental buildings filled with symbols and scenes representing your desired reality, you create neural pathways that your subconscious mind recognizes as actual experiences rather than mere imagination. I discovered this principle through working with Helena, an architect who understood spatial design but had never applied it to consciousness work. Her manifestation breakthrough came when she began constructing detailed mental buildings during her sleep programming sessions. Each room in her imaginary palace represented a different aspect of her ideal life. A prosperity wing filled with symbols of abundance, a relationship gallery containing scenes of deep connection, a creativity studio where her artistic visions came to life. The impact was profound because Helena's subconscious mind began treating these mental spaces as real locations that it needed to manifest in physical reality. Her brain couldn't distinguish between her vividly constructed inner palace and actual architectural experiences. Within months, opportunities began appearing that seemed designed to bring her mental architecture into concrete form. This memory palace construction works most effectively during sleep programming because your consciousness naturally thinks in spatial terms when freed from linear logical constraints. The detailed inner worlds you create become reference points that guide your subconscious decision-making, attracting experiences and opportunities that match your architectural vision. Now, I want to explore how this inner architecture work connects to an understanding of manifestation that transcends individual techniques to reveal the ultimate nature of consciousness itself. Write in the comments, "Inner architecture activated," if you're ready to discover how spiritual guidance and mental palace construction can transform your entire approach to conscious reality creation. This understanding of consciousness itself reaches its most profound expression when you discover that your sleeping awareness can access infinite versions of yourself, living out different possibilities across parallel timelines. The revelation transforms everything about how manifestation actually works, because it reveals that the successful version of yourself already exists, not as potential future, but as present reality in alternate probability streams that your expanded consciousness can directly access and merge with. The discovery emerged through quantum physics research, suggesting that every choice creates branching timelines, spawning countless versions of ourselves experiencing different outcomes. Your sleeping mind, freed from the constraints of linear thinking, can perceive these parallel realities like channels on a cosmic television. More importantly, you can consciously tune into the frequencies of versions where your desires have already been fulfilled, downloading their energy patterns and success consciousness into your current timeline. I witnessed this phenomenon working with a client named Jonathan, who had struggled for years to build a successful consulting practice. His breakthrough came when he learned to use his sleep consciousness to connect with parallel versions of himself who had already achieved the business success he desired. During deep sleep programming sessions, Jonathan would request to merge with the timeline, where his consulting firm was thriving beyond his current imagination. The transformation was remarkable because Jonathan began embodying the confidence, decision-making patterns, and strategic thinking of his successful parallel self. These weren't learned behaviors. They felt like remembering aspects of himself that had always existed but were previously inaccessible. His business accelerated rapidly as he operated from this integrated consciousness that combined his current timeline with the successful patterns of his parallel selves. This parallel reality work operates through your consciousness's natural ability to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously during sleep. The successful versions of yourself aren't separate entities. They represent different expressions of your infinite potential. When you consciously merge with these alternate timelines, you're essentially integrating aspects of yourself that were always available but dormant in your current probability stream. But the most practical application of this expanded consciousness involves understanding how your subconscious mind responds to narrative programming with unprecedented power. The hidden truth is that your deeper mind doesn't think in abstract concepts or isolated affirmations. It processes experience through story. When you craft detailed narratives of your desired reality and program them through sleep, you provide your subconscious with complete experiential blueprints that it can recognize and manifest. The revelation involves recognizing that every limitation you currently experience exists within an unconscious story you're telling yourself about what's possible. These limiting narratives operate beneath conscious awareness, shaping your decisions and opportunities according to their restricted plot lines. When you consciously craft new stories and program them during your most receptive sleep states, you literally rewrite the fundamental scripts from which your reality unfolds. I worked with a woman named Penelope, who had been stuck in patterns of relationship disappointment despite years of personal development work. Her transformation began when she realized that her subconscious was operating from an inherited story about love being dangerous and unreliable. Instead of trying to overcome this narrative through willpower, Penelope learned to craft detailed stories of herself experiencing deep, supportive partnership. Each night before sleep, she would read aloud from her handwritten accounts of her ideal relationship, describing conversations with her perfect partner the feelings of safety and joy she experienced, the beautiful moments they shared together. These weren't fantasies, but carefully crafted narratives written in present tense, as though she were documenting actual experiences. Within months, her entire approach to relationships transformed as her subconscious began expecting and attracting the love story she had been programming. This narrative, programming works because stories engage multiple regions of your brain simultaneously, the areas responsible for language, emotion, sensory processing, and memory formation. When you program detailed narratives during sleep transitions, you create rich neural networks that your subconscious mind experiences as actual memories rather than imagined possibilities. Now, I want to explore how all these individual techniques integrate into a master understanding that transforms your entire relationship with reality creation itself. Write in the comments, Master Storyteller Activated, if you're ready to discover how parallel self-integration and narrative programming can rewrite the fundamental stories from which your reality emerges. This master understanding reveals itself when you recognize that your nightly dreams aren't random mental events, but sophisticated communication systems that provide real-time feedback about your manifestation, progress, and potential obstacles. The hidden truth is that your subconscious mind speaks through symbols and metaphors rather than direct language, creating a rich tapestry of imagery that mirrors your current programming state and reveals exactly what adjustments are needed for breakthrough results. The revelation emerged through my work with advanced practitioners who had mastered the technical aspects of sleep programming but struggled to understand why certain intentions manifested quickly while others remained stubbornly unfulfilled. The breakthrough came when they learned to decode the symbolic language of their dreams, treating each night's imagery as valuable data about their subconscious programming effectiveness. Dream symbols operate through universal psychological patterns that transcend cultural boundaries. A locked door appearing in your dreams typically represents beliefs or fears that are blocking your progress. Flying often indicates freedom from limitations and expanded consciousness. Water usually reflects your emotional state regarding your desires. Calm seas suggest harmony, while turbulent storms indicate inner conflict that needs attention. I worked with a client named Benjamin who had been practicing sleep programming for abundance but continued experiencing financial struggles. The guidance came through his dream symbolism. Night after night, Benjamin dreamed of elaborate locked safes that he couldn't open. His subconscious was clearly communicating that his prosperity programming was encountering locked beliefs about money and worthiness that needed to be addressed before abundance could flow freely. As Benjamin learned to work with these dream messages, incorporating specific techniques to unlock his limiting beliefs during sleep sessions, his financial reality began transforming. The locked safes in his dreams gradually became open treasure chests, reflecting the internal shifts that were occurring in his relationship with prosperity. His external opportunities began multiplying as his subconscious programming aligned with abundance consciousness. This dream interpretation work provides invaluable feedback about the effectiveness of your sleep programming efforts. When your dreams consistently reflect themes of expansion, growth, and achievement, you know your subconscious programming is taking root successfully. When challenging symbols appear, they guide you toward specific areas that need attention or adjustment in your practice. But the ultimate mastery emerges when you understand that your entire being constantly emanates a unique energetic signature that functions like a cosmic magnet, drawing experiences, people, and opportunities that match your vibrational frequency. This signature operates continuously, broadcasting your dominant beliefs, emotions, and expectations into the universal field where the law of attraction responds by delivering matching circumstances. The transformation occurs when you recognize that during sleep's receptive state, this energetic signature becomes remarkably malleable. Your consciousness, freed from the rigid patterns of waking identity, can be consciously redesigned to harmonize with whatever frequency you choose to embody. This isn't about temporary mood shifts. It's about permanently elevating your baseline vibration to match your desired reality. The discovery revolutionized my understanding of why some people seem to effortlessly attract success while others struggle despite similar efforts. The difference lies in their underlying energetic signature, the frequency they're broadcasting through their being rather than just their thoughts or actions. Your energy field operates like a radio station, and manifestation success depends on ensuring you're transmitting on the frequency of what you want to receive. I witnessed this transformation in a client named Charlotte, who had achieved external success but felt empty and unfulfilled despite her accomplishments. The revelation came when Charlotte realized that her energetic signature was broadcasting achievement driven by insecurity rather than authentic passion. During sleep programming sessions, she learned to consciously redesign her energy field to radiate genuine enthusiasm, creative joy, and purpose-driven motivation. The impact was immediate and profound. Opportunities began appearing that perfectly matched her authentic interests rather than her ego-driven goals. People responded to her differently, drawn to the magnetic quality that genuine passion creates in your energy field. Her external success remained, but now it felt aligned with her true nature rather than driven by unconscious fears. Now, I want to reveal the ultimate integration of all these principles into a complete understanding of consciousness that transforms not just what you can manifest, but who you understand yourself to be. Write in the comments, energy frequency conscious, if you're beginning to understand how dream interpretation and energetic signature design can fine-tune your manifestation abilities to precision levels. This complete understanding of consciousness reaches its most elegant expression when you discover how your sleep programming extends far beyond personal transformation to orchestrate meaningful coincidences throughout your waking reality. The revelation involves recognizing that your sleeping mind operates as a cosmic conductor, arranging synchronicities and meaningful encounters that serve as divine confirmations of your alignment with universal flow. The discovery emerged through observing advanced practitioners who reported extraordinary patterns of meaningful coincidences following their sleep programming sessions. These weren't random events, but precisely orchestrated moments that seemed designed to guide, confirm, and accelerate their manifestation journey. Street signs would reflect their exact thoughts, strangers would speak phrases from their dreams, and opportunities would materialize at precisely the perfect timing. This synchronicity orchestration works because your sleeping consciousness exists beyond the constraints of linear time and individual identity. During deep sleep states, your awareness expands to touch what researchers call the quantum field of possibility, a realm where all potential outcomes exist simultaneously and where cause and effect operate according to principles that transcend ordinary logic. I worked with a client named Maximilian who was seeking guidance about a major business decision. During his sleep programming, he requested specific signs to illuminate his path, perhaps a blue feather, an unexpected mention of Tokyo, or hearing a particular song from his childhood. The next day, these exact symbols appeared in his waking experience with timing and precision that defied statistical probability. A blue feather on his car windshield, a colleague mentioning Tokyo during a casual conversation, and his childhood song playing in an elevator he rarely used. These meaningful coincidences weren't random. They were orchestrated responses to his sleep programming requests. Maximilian's sleeping mind had somehow arranged these encounters as cosmic breadcrumbs leading toward his highest path. Following these synchronistic guidances led him to opportunities that transformed his business in ways that logical planning could never have achieved. The hidden truth is that your sleeping consciousness operates from a perspective where the interconnected nature of all events becomes visible. From this expanded vantage point, arranging meaningful coincidences is simply a matter of aligning probability streams in ways that create optimal outcomes for your growth and manifestation success. But this reveals an even more profound understanding that represents the ultimate recognition of your true nature and creative power. The journey through all these techniques and discoveries leads to a single, transformative realization. You are not a limited being trying to influence reality through sleep programming. You are the unlimited consciousness in which all realities appear and disappear like waves in an infinite ocean. This final revelation transforms everything about how you approach manifestation because it reveals that the power you've been seeking to develop was never separate from you. Your consciousness itself is the master key to creation. Every technique you've learned, every practice you've mastered, has been guiding you toward this ultimate recognition of your true nature as pure, unbounded awareness. The transformation occurs when you stop trying to get your consciousness to create what you want, and instead recognize that you are the consciousness from which all experiences emerge. Your sleeping mind provides the clearest access to this truth because during deep rest, the boundaries of personal identity naturally dissolve, revealing the vast awareness that you actually are. I witnessed this recognition in a client named Isadora, who had mastered every technique imaginable, yet felt something was still missing from her practice. Her breakthrough came during a particularly deep sleep session, when she suddenly recognized that she wasn't programming her subconscious. She was the consciousness in which both the programmer and the programming appeared. This shift in identity transformed her entire approach to manifestation from effort to effortless choice. From this perspective of ultimate recognition, manifestation becomes as natural as dreaming because you understand that both your dreams and your waking reality emerge from the same source, your own infinite awareness. You're not trying to create experiences, you're simply choosing which experiences to dream into form. Now, I want to explore how this ultimate understanding integrates into practical mastery that transforms your nightly practice into effortless conscious creation. Write in the comments, "I am the dreamer," if you're ready to step into the ultimate recognition of your true nature as the unlimited consciousness that dreams all realities into existence. This ultimate recognition represents the culmination of a journey that most people never even realize is possible. If you've made it this far with me, you understand something profound about the nature of consciousness and reality that goes far beyond simple manifestation techniques. You've glimpsed the truth that your sleeping mind holds, a keys to transformation that most people spend entire lifetimes seeking without ever finding. The depth of what we've explored together tonight, from the basic principles of twilight programming to the ultimate recognition of your nature as infinite consciousness, represents years of research, experimentation, and discovery. This isn't information you'll find in mainstream sleep science or typical manifestation courses. It's the synthesis of ancient wisdom and modern understanding that reveals how your nightly rest can become your most powerful tool for conscious creation. If these revelations resonated with something deep within you, if you felt that spark of recognition when we talked about your true identity as the dreamer of your reality, then you'll want to stay connected to this journey of discovery. I regularly share insights and techniques that build upon these foundations, diving even deeper into the practical applications of consciousness science and advanced manifestation and principles. When you subscribe to this channel, you're not just getting access to more content, you're joining a community of conscious creators who understand that reality is far more malleable than most people realize. Every video I create is designed to expand your understanding and provide practical tools for transforming your experience from the inside out. If you've truly absorbed what we've covered tonight, if you feel that fundamental shift in how you understand yourself and your creative power, then leave a comment saying, "I am the conscious dreamer," so I know you received the deeper transmission beyond just the words. There's something powerful about declaring this recognition publicly, about stepping into this new identity where others can witness your transformation. And if you found value in this journey we've taken together, if you felt that connection between us as I shared these discoveries with you, a simple like on this video helps me reach others who are ready for this level of understanding. It's a small gesture that creates ripples in ways you might not expect. The exploration doesn't end here. There's a video right here that takes these principles even further, revealing how your awakened consciousness can influence not just your personal reality, but the collective field of human experience. Click and continue with me over there, because what we've discovered tonight is just the beginning of what becomes possible when you truly understand the power that rests within your sleeping mind. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. Your dreams are calling.